What's up guys, AFK Tech here, and today we're going to be taking a look at my home server. Alright, so last week I did a little bit of a vlog on my home network and my server setup, and today we're going to actually take a look at the server that I store most of my data on. It's not necessarily a proper server by any means, but it gets the job done, and I want to show you guys exactly what I have set up and exactly how it works. So we'll go ahead and just get started and take a look at it. So as I mentioned last week, it is in an old Antec 902 case. This was my first computer case. Great case for its time especially, but the problem with it that I had is all the hard drive bays. It's extremely tedious to get your drives out. So I'll go ahead and just slide the side off here. I don't really have it bolted on, but as you can see here, it took 4 screws here and then the respective screws on each hard drive just to get one hard drive out as they come out in caddies. So it's one of those things you want to do it once and then forget about it, and that was my main reason for actually upgrading my case for my main rig. But as you can see, it is a bundled mess of cables. I've got a Corsair CX500 power supply, by no means any sort of enterprise grade power supply, doing the job in there. It's probably not the best thing to have, but it's cheap. I had one laying around when I built one of my siblings' computers, so I tossed it in there because I needed some extra SATA connectors. And the reason I needed all those extra SATA connectors is I have 4 WD 1TB black drives inside of this case here. So let me see what I can get going here. And so these are pretty much the mainstay of this computer. These are what store all my data on them. This is what I have my redundancy on, and this is what I consider making it a server itself. It's running 4 drives. They're running in striped and then mirrored pool, so kind of a RAID 10, but I'm actually using Windows Server 2012 storage pools, so that's the first time I've done that. It's worked out pretty well. It's a little bit more in behind the scenes, so you don't necessarily know exactly how your data is being handled, which can be kind of worrisome sometimes, but so far I've had pretty good performance with it and I've got nothing to complain about. So underneath the Intel stock heatsink right there, we got a Core i5-750 running at 2.66 gigahertz, a good old school chip, one of the best value chips of its time. I got it back in 2011, I believe, and that, as I said, was for my first computer. No reason to overclock when you're using this on the server because obviously you're looking for something that's going to be stable and not crashing all the time. Over here I kind of got a Frankenstein set of RAM, so I've got some Ripjaws, an 8 gig set there, 4x2, and then I've got some old Corsair XMS3s. Those were also my first RAM sticks for my first build. As you can see on the add-in slot, I got a gigabit LAN card. It's a NIC. I don't really know what the chipset is. I actually don't use it anymore. It's just kind of in there. I probably need to take it out. In my previous video I showed you an 8600 GTS graphics card. That's usually the card that sits in here, but it burns power and I really don't need the console all the time, so I take it out whenever I don't necessarily need it. That way it's not A, taking up a bunch of power while it's just sitting there idling, and B, because that card's old and I wouldn't be surprised if it just dies on me soon. So it's not in there right now, but whenever I need to actually get into the computer, I need to put that in there. One of the big things with that is I don't know if remote desktop works without it. I've had troubles remoting in. Since I took it out, I haven't actually tested it out. So you actually need to have I believe you actually need to have some sort of graphics device in order to draw the DirectX image for a remote desktop to send across your network. So I guess outside of the hardware here, obviously this is not a very advanced setup. I'm not touting this as any sort of enterprise grade setup or even something that you should be doing. I just want to show you that it's kind of a hodgepodge of things that I put together that in order to make my own first server here. So what I have to say to you guys about this, so this server, for the majority of it, it's all just a NAS. There's not really any big services that I actually run on this box right here. It's mostly just storing pictures from my family, some old movies here and there, just files. I use it to back up whenever I'm doing a fresh install of Windows. I totally back up to this. It's super fast. Saturate the gigabit line that runs from it, no problem, which is super nice. With considering I've got 2 terabytes of usable storage for that. But like I'm saying, guys, you don't have to have some sort of fancy Xeon setup, enterprise grade board, ECC memory. Those things are nice, they're awesome. I recommend them if you can afford them, because it's going to give you a lot more stability and integrity in your data. But you know, if you're just getting started on the server tinkering, you can go ahead and get, you know, an old desktop that you have sitting around. This was my first computer, as I said. So you take your first computer that you ever built, and it's time to upgrade finally, because you finally realize you want more. And then you take your old one and you turn it into a little server. Whether you're running maybe Plex on it, I'll put some links down to these things in the description. Whether you're running Plex on it, you're using it as a torrent box, you're using it as a NAS of some sort, you're running free NAS, you're hosting TeamSpeak for your buddies and you to talk on, hosting own cloud for your own kind of like cloud storage solution. There's just a plethora of different things you can tinker around with, and things are becoming so easy with the way these setups are installed. You can just be running a clean setup of Windows 10 and change some features around, make sure it's always on, doesn't turn off for updates, and suddenly, you know, you have a server. The server isn't something that is designated necessarily by its hardware. It's really just what its use is for. It's serving up data. So I think from this, just kind of looking at this computer, I just wanted to tell you guys, I think I'm going to do some sort of maybe like a little series on different programs and different cool things you can do with a server, and maybe do a server build, because I'm starting to think this thing is getting a little out of date, and I want to maybe beef it up a little bit so I can start running some more services on it and just not having it as a NAS. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you disliked it because it didn't make any sense, or if I was just rambling on, leave a comment down in the description and let me know that it sucked and what you guys would like to see. Definitely leave me a comment if you want to see something new, if there's a specific thing you want me to cover, whether it's servers or any other tech topic. I'm open, I'm all ears, I'm totally interested in doing what you guys want to see. For now though, AFK Tech's going to be signing off here. Be sure to support me with my Amazon link. I'm going to put it down in the video description, and take it easy, guys.